Hi, happy Thursday. Fingers crossed this fucking video works because it's like the 10th one that I've tried to do. And the battery keeps going. All the storage keeps getting full. Oh, so I've come upstairs and I've plugged the bugger in, so it's charging up now, so hopefully it won't cut off. Look at the state of that. It's massive, innit? I've borrowed this for a bit, see if I can cut down on the fags. And it's quite good, but I feel like I'm blowing a trumpet. It's so big, it's like... It's nice, does a trick. Anyway. So the kids have been away, like usual, on a Wednesday night, and I've been overthinking and not sleeping. And there's a few things that I wanted to talk about, which I've written down, so I'll turn this down and crack on with defragmenting my mind. And the first thing that I was thinking about was judging again and being judged, and it's been a recurring realisation of mine over the past year or so, and it's a continuous learning journey for me to acknowledge, shed, then release these judgments or perceived judgments. So why it's been on my mind is that I keep getting reminded that when you do a simple Google search of my name, what pops up is not lists of my academic achievements or my my Facebook profile where, me and the kids have got Snapchat filters on and we're going to see Santa at the grotto and everything's sort of keeping up with the Joneses. There's no artistic Instagram page, there's this YouTube page. And so sometimes that realisation hits me and I'm like, ugh. It's like being kegged, like someone pulling your trousers down and like your stuff's out and you're just like, oh! That's what it feels like to me sometimes, being reminded of that fact. But it also helps me to keep on my path and to stay strong and not weaken myself. Because, what is this? I can't have that. That will do. Yeah. I looked the other day and I've done more than 100 videos and I was super chuffed and proud of myself because I've always been such a quitter, and whatever felt uncomfortable in my life I've just never done again, pretty much anyway, I'll give it a good go, but if I instinctively know something's not vibing right, I'm out of there, I'm off. So jobs or people or whatever, if I've not resonated with them, it's ta-ra. And that, in hindsight, is probably because of my unwillingness to acknowledge my own shit. Now that I can do that, I find I have to keep on track. Because I put pointless thoughts to weaken self. That's how it feels like to me. It's like the judging and the judging yourself and judging others. It's like, it's just pointless. All it does is these indoor critics, really, that's what they are, your internal thoughts and fears and perceptions, the illusionary boundaries which stop you from being true to your soul. And I'm such a decent person. I'm not trying to set the world on fire in any way, good or bad. I'm just sort of trying to express my journey and document it through on these videos. So it's difficult to not preface every video just in case somebody comes across it, and just a disclaimer, this material you're about to view is after, a spiritual forced awakening, or, it's like, look back through my old videos. I don't want to have to keep saying certain things, but, I don't even need to. This is my own shit that I've put on myself. But, so yeah, I've just got to be true to myself, no matter how wacky I sound sometimes. And I've just got to laugh about it, you know, if like one of my old school teachers Googles my name, or someone I used to work with, and, you know, they find me talking about this type of thing. It's like, oh, hiya Julie from post office, if you're watching. I've just got to laugh about it and get over it. You know, at the same time, sometimes it's difficult having other people's opinions on the same type of thing you're talking about, because they've got their own experiences and no two will ever be the same. I've been thinking about this a lot, you know. Even an external truth, you know, a situational truth in terms of if you and I were both to witness the same murder at the same time, we would both take away from that traumatic moment different imprints of memory, of trauma code activation, whatever, remembrance, whatever it is that's being sort of transferred during these moments. We each take away a different set of these experiences or codes because of who we are up to that point anyway. So it's a fruitless game, isn't it, judging and judging yourself especially, and, you know, judging others. It's crazy. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about bloodlines and ancestral karma, and you know, the potential nature of reality. And my theories, they change quite often, and I'm all right with that now. Like I said, you know, I don't think I am right, nor do I want to be right, you know. I'm just expressing myself, and I've got the right to change my opinion and, you know, my theories as many times as I want, and, you know, I don't want to affect others. So that's a little disclaimer. But anyway, so I have to acknowledge what happened during my awakening in March over and over again to myself to keep myself on track. And for people that have heard this, sorry, but, you know, for anybody that hasn't, one night in March, a big flash of green happened in the middle of the night in my bedroom, and a fucking massive tetrahedron or a dodecahedron or a big 3D translucent crystal materialised out of thin air in my bedroom, hovered near the ceiling for a few seconds, and then poof, vanished. And that night I was told or communicated to, whether that was from external or a different pocket of consciousness or my own higher self or whatever, the messages were, you've got, well, I knew this anyway, but you are rhesus negative blood, it's important, you're here for a reason, and your DNA has been upgraded. And I've got to keep remembering that this was when I was a normal person, you know, worrying about normal things and watching TV and mainstream stuff, and not daring to delve into expanded consciousness or esoteric theories. It not even being on my sort of plane of existence at that moment. So when I started researching these phrases, you know, rhesus negative blood, DNA upgrades, and I actually found that this was a thing that was happening to many people, you know, my intrigue sparked even further, and it sort of accelerated this awakening. It was like a forced like awakening. And to sort of get along in life, you sometimes have to filter and water down things so you don't go too away with the fairies. You know, keep leveling, keep balancing if you can, and trying to understand, not just from an esoteric, theoretical point of view, but from a psychological or philosophical point of view, what it actually means in terms of brain connecting to consciousness, mind, body, soul connection. So, you know, it's this constant journey for me, and I really do enjoy getting these things off my chest and my mind and speaking them out. But they're very uncomfortable for me to do, and I do get a lot of that feeling that comes along with it. So anyway, what else have I been thinking about? So the bloodline sort of thing that I was thinking about was, Okay, so I'll just tell the little story about what happened. The other day I was talking to somebody about, you know, when you see these kids take selfies and they're on a cliff edge and then they slip and die, and you see that moment of realisation on the face when they know they're going to die just before. And when I've only watched a couple of these before, but when I've seen him, it's haunted me because I've felt it tangibly, palpably within me, like that I have actually experienced that moment of knowing I'm going to die before. And so I was thinking about reincarnation and things like this, because as I've spoken about in prior videos, here comes another wacky thing, if Mrs. Baker from my junior school is listening, that I've got a knowing or a constant remembrance that I have at some point in my soul's existence died at the hands and mouth, really, of a tiger, that a tiger has broken my neck, sunk its teeth into me. I feel the hot blood and I die. But, you know, the moment before the beauty of the surrender is the oh shit moment. And that is something that I've experienced often, and it doesn't make any logical sense, you know, to me. So I'm so grateful for the heart and mind opening and expansion journey that I'm on and have been on for a while now, because it's very interesting for me. So anyway, I was talking about these selfie things, and I was saying, I remember watching one, a really awful one, where a girl was about to dive into the sea below. She was standing on the end of these rocks, and she was a bit nervous, and she was laughing back at the camera, and she didn't know whether to go, wasn't quite ready. But the dickhead behind the camera goes over and he pushes her, and she dies. She smacks straight into the cliff face, and there's a couple of seconds of silence after the video, before the video goes off, and it's like, you know, and at that moment I was sort of silent for a minute, just sat with this feeling, because it was like all of a sudden I knew somehow that not only had I been the one who's been pushed before, but I've also been the one that did the pushing. And it was like, whoa, that was, you know, hard for me to sit with and to sort of understand. Is that pertaining again to this existence, this 32 years on this planet, or is this some sort of ancestral karma or some experience of ancient DNA that I am somehow tapping into with my consciousness? Am I remembering, you know, past lives? And so obviously it made me think again about the rhesus negative blood, and that my particular strain is the O negative, which is definitely not at the top of the totem pole in terms of you know, theories. It's like we're the ginger giant man-eating line of Cain trolls, basically, the O negatives. That's sort of, you know, the meanies, that's sort of, or the egotistical ones. And once I sort of sit with that judgment in neutrality, I can find truths in it. So like I've spoken about before, you know, my honesty in terms of rage and aggression and explosive nature that I naturally have, and that my mum naturally has, and my little boy naturally has, you know, all the O negatives in the family have had. And just trying to sort of understand that. And I like to think that we were put here, or that I was put here maybe to change the code, to stop the recycling of the karma and the ingrained behavioural traits of my particular bloodline. I don't mean all O negatives in the world, but, you know, I mean my family, small strand of that particular bloodline. And I like to think that I've already changed it, because I don't drink anymore, and I think I'm the only one in my family who doesn't drink now. And my kids won't drink, because I'll tell them the dangers of alcohol, my experiences with it, and, you know, and if they do, they do, and that's their choice, but I'm pretty sure that they won't want to. And so I think I've changed that sort of trauma for the rest of my bloodline from here on out. Maybe not, but you know, I'm doing my part in trying to change the ingrained behavioural patterns. And the other one is anger, again, which I'm working on loads. And like I keep talking about, I've changed so much, but I do have to acknowledge this sort of innate warrior side of me that feels so true, as if I've been a warrior before, as if I've been a man, some big powerful motherfucker who could just, you know, ruin everything with like the hands, like, ah, you know, fire come out of the hands or something. Like, that's how sort of I have this innate feel that is within me, which makes me wonder, you know, about bloodlines and DNA codes and things of that type of nature. Just check that. So yeah, like, these types of things, they interest me vastly. And the way I've been sort of thinking about things in the last few days is in terms of patterns. And I was thinking about this because I was sketching earlier, and I've always sketched in geometric sort of patterns, or at least symmetrical, you know. I've always enjoyed the order and the beauty of symmetry and geometry, innately. But it's funny because my paintings are chaos over the order. It's like I like, you know, the spectrum of the rainbow, the colours, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I love that. So I use that quite often. But then, you know, I'll get some black paint and throw it on top of it. Maybe that says a lot about me subconsciously. But anyway, so when I was thinking in terms of patterns and overlays and codes or genetic codes, I was thinking more maybe like the O negatives, maybe, you know, like when you get ball bearings and you throw it into a bowl with a magnetic pull underneath, how they all arrange in a beautiful equidistance geometric pattern. And that happens as many as you put in, it just joins the sequence and gets bigger and more perfect and expanded. But, you know, maybe O negatives, maybe their vibrational pull is heavier, so they're, you know, they've got a shorter, fatter pattern in a way. You know, if you think about it in terms of, patterns, pulls of matter or energy around a plane. So, and then maybe your A negatives, if you threw all those ball bearings into the pull of the universe, they'd make a more flowery pattern. And the B negatives, you know, maybe they'd make some wonderful, intricate, different type of pattern. But all the patterns are overlaid on top of each other, all the bands of frequency or the geometric patterns of our essence of being. And when you start mingling and mixing, the patterns become less order and more chaos, because you're going against your natural sort of pull. I don't know if that makes sense, but the way I envisage it is just, you know, shapes on top of shapes on top of shapes, in a vibrational type way. Oh, fuck's sake, I do talk a lot of shit sometimes. But anyway, yeah, so I was just wondering, you know, whether one day we'll find out if things are a little bit more like that, like, you know, when you can measure your vibrational frequency and you can see how that affects matter, just when, it's just bloody interesting to me. So I'd like to hear, or would I, or am I doing what I always do? I was just going to say I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on this, but then I think to myself, or would I? Is that just another sort of like, you know, I can't deal with someone else's shit, like, because it sort of takes away from mine. I don't know. I love listening and learning, but I just feel like the idea of sort of complete oneness is really difficult, potentially impossible to attain, because of the infinite sequences of codes which we fit within. Back to, you know, like I was saying earlier, the experience of the the situational truth observed by two will still take away a different message, code, meaning and trauma from that event. So how can we all sort of blend together? I think that's what humanity is trying to do, isn't it? So it's beautiful. Do I want thoughts? Of course I do, I always do. And fucking hell, yeah. Anyway, I bought a massive sofa and a very small orgonite pyramid. Interesting shit though, innit? Thinking about all this reincarnation and consciousness grabbing onto memories or codes or things sparking off in you which ignite or upgrade some kind of functioning of your brain maybe that is able to connect with higher aspects of consciousness. Who knows? So much on my mind, but the bastard videos haven't worked all fucking day, and I've only got an hour now until the kids come back. I've been making videos for 3.5 hours, I'm not even joking, and so this better work. I'm going to stop it now. Happy Thursday. I've seen beautiful rainbows today, and it's the 5th of December, nearly Christmas time. Yeah, wow. Happy Thursday.